Welcome to the Babbles Nonsense podcast, where I'm your host, Jonna Grimes, and we're here to discuss any and all things, but especially the shit that I want to talk about. Because let's face it, I have a lot of shit to say. And after all, you are listening to my verbal diary. Let's get started. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Babbles Nonsense podcast. It is me today, solo, awkward AF. But I'm going to get better at the solo thing. That is why I'm reformatting the podcast. I said in my Instagram stories that I was doing like another season. I don't know if this will be like a seasonal thing. I don't know. Like, who knows where this podcast will go? I'm just going to be very transparent with everyone. It started out as a verbal diary for me to go have a place to vent and have something to do outside of work and working out at the gym. And it is in a way to have a therapy session for my social anxiety, to talk about things with different people, to reach out to people, because otherwise I would just sit on my couch on my off time and never speak to anyone if it were up to me, because that's just where I'm comfortable and that's what I like to do. So that's why the podcast started the way it did. And fortunately for me, I had a lot of friends that owned their own businesses, and it was stuff that I was interested in. So it kind of tied together like my verbal diary format and then the things that I was interested in, like spray tanning, my hair, filler and Botox, my facials that I get, and things like that. So with that being said, I want to take this back to the original plan that I had. I still have all the things that I had written down that I wanted to do. And this is more of me venting my frustrations, but kind of talking about what really matters and conversations that need to be had. I know I had Tasha on about BLM movement, and that was a very, very important podcast for me. And it's something that I want to continue to do. I want to continue having the conversations. And I think what made me shy away from that was that a lot of my listeners are my coworkers, and I was scared to open up about who I am and like the depression that I've been through or the social anxiety that I've been through, just because I was scared that opening up meant that I was opening up myself to be hurt, which it is, because people can tell you that they don't like you or something, but you also don't want them to know your full story, because then that leaves you vulnerable. But I'm ready to do that now, and I want to have conversations with my friends, and things that I want to talk about are, for example, I'm in my 30s and I don't have a child. I'm in my 30s and I'm not dating anyone, nor have I been on a date in a really long time. And I know I get asked about that a lot, but I also have a few other friends that are in their 30s and they don't have children. So I want to invite them on the podcast to talk about infertility and, do you want children, or have you had a hard time having children, or are you just now in your late 30s and having your first child and what that means, or conversations like divorce and remarrying or redating after divorce. Kind of conversations like that we don't really talk about a lot, but we kind of want to hear about, because we want to know if we're alone. Because a lot of times when people have depression and anxiety, it's more about themselves and the way they think they view the world. For instance, social media, like, you get on social media and you look at these pictures or these stories, and people portray that they're really happy and having a good time, but we don't really know what goes on behind closed doors. So I definitely want to be more transparent about how I've been feeling. And I mean, if you've been anywhere near me, you know it's not been great lately, which is why I'm going to take a couple weeks off from the podcast to continue to get people lined up. I already have a few people lined up, and it's going to be a great conversation. And as I mentioned in my Instagram story, I'm going to have my friend Lauren Keaton, who is a life coach, come on and talk about hard topics with me, maybe kind of coach me a little bit through these hard and difficult conversations that I want to tell about my story, and just in a simpler way, just to connect with more people. So I hope you like this reformatting. I'm really excited about it. And again, don't forget, I'm taking a couple of weeks off, so this podcast will be back probably mid-July or early August. And until next time, bye.